guys, in this video lecture we will discuss another important topic from the thermoregulation, that is about the cost and benefits of ectothermies. Now before discussing the cost and benefit of ectothermy, let us learn what is ectothermic animal and what is endothermic animal. Suppose we have two organisms, the first one that is organism A and the second one that is organism B. Now we have only two sources from which the organism get heat. One of them that is the metabolic reactions that mainly occur inside the body of living organism. Now when these metabolic reaction occur inside the body of living organism, it will generate some heat. Now this heat it will actually gain by the organism. Now this organism that basically obtain their heat from the metabolic reactions. Now this organism it is basically called as endothermic animals because they will get heat from the internal metabolic reaction, as the name indicate, endo mean insides. So that's why it is called as endothermic animals. While on the other hand, the second source of the heat gaining, that is the external source, it may be suns or it may be warm rocks. Now this organism it will obtain or it will gain heat from the external sources, it may be suns or warm rock. So that's why these animals are called as ectotherm, because they gain their heat from the external source. So that's why it is called as ectothermic animals. Now the question arises, although metabolic reaction it is the basic feature of the living organism that the organism must have a metabolic reaction that mainly occur inside the body of living organism. So why in case of the ectotherms they will not able to gain heat from these such internal metabolic reactions instead of taking from the external environment? Because in these organisms the metabolic reactions or metabolic rate they are very slow, they are unable to give enough heat to their body, so that's why they are relied to gain heat from the external sources. So this is the concept of ectothermic animal and endothermic animal. Now let us discuss about the ectothermic animals. Now this ectothermic animal it is called as phoikilotherms or cool-blooded animals. So these ectotherm and phoikilotherms are actually the two aspects of one phenomena, because this phoikilotherm it will emphasize on the variable body temperatures, while the ectotherm it is emphasized on that the external condition that will determine the body temperature, although both of these are the same phenomena. In non-scientific writings, these 5 kilotherms it is called as cool-blooded animal. As the name indicate cool-blooded, it does not mean that the blood of these animal they have a cooler bloods, because we have the some poiculotherms that are basically the desert lizards and insect, they have a warmer temperature, body temperature or warmer blood than the endothermic animals. So this is a misconception term used for the 5 kilotherms. Now the term ectotherms it is basically coined by the scientist that is Wilhelm Friedrich Hermans and his paper. The English translation of his paper, that is the contribution to the morphology and physiology of animal, and this paper he actually coined the term ectotherms. Now what are the important characteristics of the ectothermic animals? The first one, that is they have a low metabolic rate. The second one, that is poorly insulated. So when they have a low metabolic rate, so they are unable to generate heat inside their body. So the same reason they will get the heat from the external sources. So the second one, that is poorly insulated, because this organism does not have some pores or hair in their body through which their heat are insulated or not transferred to the environment. So basically the small amount of heat that are actually generated in their body, so this heat are actually transferred into the external environment. Now another characteristics of the ectothermic animal, they are actually active and warmer temperature than the cooler temperatures. to regulate their body temperature, they mainly rely on the external temperature. But the external temperature and the warm climate, they are actually active in this environment. Now, the last characteristics of the ectothermic animal, they are actually depend on the external temperature for the metabolic reaction, as we have already discussed about the definition of ectotherms. So they are actually rely on the external temperature for their metabolic reaction that mainly occur in the body of these organisms. Now, the main topic, that is about what is the cost and benefits of ectothermy. So, first we will discuss what is the benefit of ectothermy. Suppose we have an organism there, they are actually ectothermics. Now, what is the benefit to this organism that show ectothermy? Now, the first benefit to the ectotherms, that is they have a low metabolic rate, as we have discussed and the definition of the ectotherms. So they have a low metabolic rates as compared to the endotherms. They have a high metabolic rate, so they can produce a large amount of energy. Now this large amount of energy endotherm use to regulate their body temperatures. So these organisms have low temperature, a low metabolic rate as compared to the endotherms. So this low metabolic rate, it will produce some energy. Now this energy, they will this endotherm, it will invest this energy on the growth and reproduction, that are very important function of the living organism. For the survival of a living organism, these two processes are very important. Now they can spend their energy mainly on the growth and reproduction, as compared to the endotherm. So they spend a lot of energy in their body temperature regulations, so they have a low metabolic rates. So this is the benefit to the ectothermic animals. Now the second benefit, they require less food, as we have already discussed that they have a low metabolic rates. Now when this organism, they have a low metabolic rate, it means that they will require less food. So when they take less food, so their metabolic rate, it is automatically low. So here we will compare the endothermic animal to the ectothermic animal in case of the food. Suppose we have an endothermic animal, that we have a rodent, an ectothermic animal, that we take example of lizards. Now both these endotherm and ectotherm live in the same habitat and same type of the food they will consume. Suppose the size, and both of these have the same size, that is 300 gram. Both of these have same size, same, and living in the same habitat and feed on the same diets. So the requirement of the ectotherm, it is 17 times more than the ectothermic animal. Because of their high metabolic rate, they will require more food as compared to the ectotherm. So this is the second benefits to the ectothermic animals. Now the third one, that is they will require less water, because the water are actually less amount of water they will lose through the by the evaporation from their cooler body parts. So due to less evaporation, they will require less food, as the water, they have a high heat capacity, they will get heat from their body. So that's why they will require less waters. So the main reason why they will require less water, because the loss of water through the evaporation from their body, they will less. So that's why they will able to require less water as compared to the endothermic animals. Now the fourth one, there is no need to be massive for the purpose of reducing surface to volume ratio. So by taking the example, we will understand this point. Suppose we have one cell and this is another cells. Suppose this is the cell of elephants and the other one, this is the cell of bacteria. Now the rate of respiration, or you can say the rate of heat loss, occur from which cells? So basically it will be occur from the bacterial cell, because they have a large surface to volume ratio as compared to the elephant cells. So they have a less surface to volume ratio, so that's why the loss of heat it will occur less from the cell of the elephant. That same cases happen here. So as compared to the endothermic animal, ectotherm are actually small in size. Due to small size, they have a large surface to volume ratio, due to which they can easily lose their heat from their body. And the endothermic animal, they have actually massive in size. So due to massive size, their surface to volume ratio they are actually reduced. Now to reduce surface to volume ratio, they are basically enlarge in size. So to reducing the surface to volume ratio, the endothermic animal are basically large in size, and this reduced surface to volume ratio it will prevent the heat loss from their body. Now the last and not least, the benefit of ectothermy, that is longevity. So as compared to the endothermic animal, ectotherms are have a long life. As you can hear about the turtles and crocodile, they can live for a century. So this is the main benefits of the ectothermic animals. Now let us discuss the cost of ectothermy. So the first cause, that is unable to regulate their body temperatures. So these organisms are actually depend on the external environment to regulate their body temperatures. So when the and as the external environment that are actually continuously fluctuates, so these organisms they have unable to regulate their main body temperature or a constant body temperature. As the external environment will change, so their body temperature also change according to the external environment. So this is the main cost of the ectothermy. Now the endothermic animal, they will regulate their constant body temperature. As human, the constant body temperature, they have a 37 centigrade constant body temperature, and this constant temperature it will maintain this human instead of whatever the external temperature may be. So the external temperature it may lead to extreme levels. Suppose for 40 celsius or it reach to 10 degree celsius. So in these different type of the condition, they will maintain their constant body temperatures. Now the second one, that is limited activity and cooler temperature. So when the temperature they will lower down, so these organisms they will restricted their activity. So mainly the external temperature also responsible for their activity. So when the temperature it will rise, so their activity or these organisms become more active. So when the temperature are lowers or reach when the temperature it will low downs, so these organisms will restrict it or limited their activity. Now the third cost of the ectothermy, that are actually vulnerable to predator during the period of inactive. So when the temperature you can say down, or you can say when the temperature is cooler, so these organisms they will become inactive. So when these organisms become inactive, or it will perform limited activities, so they are actually vulnerable to the predator. So easily a predator can attack on these organisms. The last cost of the ectothermy, that depend on external temperature for metabolic reaction, as we have already discussed in the definition. So these organisms mainly depend on the external temperature to gain heat. Now when they gain heat, their body temperature it will regulate it, and then they will undergo specific reaction and will do different type of the daily activities. So here are the example of the ectothermy: fish, amphibian, reptile, and invertebrate. This is the example of the ectothermy. So this is overall about the cost and benefit of ectothermy. Thank you so much.